Welcome to the Midnight Express. Usually it is midnight and we go express, which means an hour, but there is no way in hell we're going to probably not go over an hour tonight, given I don't do it when we don't have shit to talk about. But we have some major topics. I think major topics, normal, a bit normal, higher than normal content today, other than just open mic. We have Vince McMahon doing his best, not doing his best, but this whole Tyler scandal lawsuit and all that, driving down TKO stock. We have WBD stock being downgraded. Something that is, once again, whatever we talk about when it comes to DC anything, fanboys think it's all up to James Gunn. If James Gunn does this, James Gunn does that. Everybody has a boss. James Gunn has a boss, and right now his boss is presiding over another plunge in WBD stock and being downgraded again. And then we'll go into that article. But for the let's see, I should have had a timer up here because I know I put it in the thumbnail, but I do not plan on spending more than 5 minutes on this topic. But we did. I am a man of my word. When there was news to talk about when it came to DCU, I promised I would talk about it. Although like I said, we're giving it 5 minutes. So right now we're at 12:10. We're done with it. Hey, Millie Acock. Finally they cast somebody that who's who I or know who they are or who I actually watch. And obviously, I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. I know who she is. She played the younger version of one of the protagonists in the show. And like I said, it's the only thing I've ever seen her in. She hasn't been acting for very long. She's only 22 years old. To me, this casting was cool, but whoever he would have casted, I would have been okay with. I see people all over this fucking internet thing saying, "Oh, I should have picked that one. Should have picked that one." Whoever he picks was the right answer because it's his vision. He knows who he wants this to look like, and only he knows the story. Obviously, we know that the story is Tom King's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but as far as like how he's going to translate that, that's going to be him. Whoever he picked was going to be the right person. There are going to be some people who have, like I said in a response, who are going to leave any of this stuff dead on arrival because of the way DC's track record. That's just, and there's nothing that's going to get those people back. You can say if they're lost or not, but once again, you cannot dispute the customer. The customer is the customer. Whatever direction they go is the direction they go. Then you have people on the other end of the spectrum who just want this to work out so much so that they can allegedly move on past the Snyder era. I think both camps are swirling around the toilet. It's basically going to be a wait and see type of thing. We got longer for this than we have in regards to Superman Legacy. This is the one I'm looking forward to more so than Legacy because I know the story. The story is a strong story. The story is something that puts Supergirl in the forefront, and she's not just a derivative character. If you have not read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, we will. I know I've been promising this the last couple of weeks, but I wanted to wait until I have the physical copies in my hand so we can go over it and not just going over it on the internet on the pages we can do. Because I have some of the issues at the store, but I really wanted to be prepared to go in depth in this story. So now is as good a time as any. So that's probably going to be our story this Saturday on the overnight. Other than that, I mean, like I said, I've seen her in one thing and only half of that thing because she played the the younger version of the Queen. But she was only in it for about 6 to 7 episodes of the 10. Because they aged her out, and then she would play. Her character was played by Emily Darcy, who will play her throughout the show. Maybe you'll see her Amelia Cock in flashbacks or things like that. I doubt it because she says she's done with Game of Thrones. But other than that, we got Supergirl casted. I don't have any more thoughts on the matter other than I'll see you guys in 2 years when it actually kind of matters.
Yeah, when you probably got more to say about that because I'm. I mean, this is pretty much this and knowing about her role on a House of Dragon. That's kind of, which I've never seen. So that's or I've seen I've seen a handful of episodes, but it's like that's kind of about the extent of my familiarity with her. So that's I think that kind of covers it pretty well. Everything you said there.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I don't have anything else to add about it. Once again, like I said before on where I've posted everywhere. I am intrigued. I'm intrigued by everything, but as far as getting excited, I just can't do it right now because of the history, the track record. I have zero faith, and we're going to go into one of those reasons why that we're going to see this follow through at this point. Could that change? Yeah, but right now, where I'm sitting on January 30th, 2024, given the track record and given where the company currently is, and we'll go into that. I don't have. I'm gonna have to wait and see. I can't get excited. I'm being sold a universe. It's the DCU, not the DC standalone.
Froze. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, yeah. I'm being sold a universe. So that's what I want to know is going to be followed through. Right now, I have no evidence that DC can follow through on anything. So I'm intrigued. I'm happy for her because I think she's a wonderful actress from what I've seen. They're adapting a story that I really enjoy. One of the better I think arguably Tom King's best work in my opinion. But that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, we would be bereft if we didn't report on it because it is relevant. But that's all I got. And I told you I'd give it 5 minutes. 12:10. There we are.
Aaron. She said she was even put up a timer on the subject. How's it going, Aaron?
Yep. Yeah, I had one internally. Speaking with Aaron, okay. I know RJ's lurking around here too. Seth Rollins, because I did watch Raw tonight, and I want to rewatch right now. Came out with Cody Rhodes in the ring and gave the best case for that match to happen. It wasn't just a promo. Everything Seth Rollins said was right. And I love the fact that they did that because I don't want to see this match again. I saw it last year. I stopped caring about the story, but guess what? When the way Seth Rollins framed it, and I've always said this, the story is not him beating Roman. I don't know where the fuck people got that from. And even Seth Rollins broke that down. It's like, I know Roman, but this is the belt that gets defended every night. This is a belt that goes on the road. You're there when I defend it. This is the belt that means something. And he kind of like sold Roman Reigns on the way. Roman Reigns comes around every other week. Then it's every other month. Then it's every other 6 months. What belt do you want to go for? You want to go for the Hollywood belt, or you want to go for Dusty's belt, the blue collar belt? I love that, and I really hope that they've left themselves an opening. I want the bloodline in by the person who should be ending the bloodline, because this is more about a title, less about a title than anything else. If the Rock doesn't need the title, that's fine. I mean, you have Damon Priest cash in or do something. If you don't want to have the WWE title on the Rock, that's fine. But I want that match. I want the Rock and Roman because it's the bloodline. It's literally built into their DNA. So I'm watching that on TV right now. But yeah, let's go ahead and say hi to the chat because, like I said, I don't even know why I called it a Midnight Express. I should have did a 4.
Well, we just said hi to Aaron. Oh, this is her formal greeting there. How's it going, Aaron?
Chappie, I see you in there. I hope this show brings you up. I hope you get some enjoyment out of this next hour and a half or so or whatever. Hello, RJ. I knew you were in there. I could feel you in there. I could feel you in there.
Why is my mouse is just when I click, it's like I think it might have something. I've run this problem before. It's like it's gotten like a little clump of dust stuck down there, and that tends to make clicking a little bit weird. So I mean, you pull that out of there.
Get that air and pop up those little finger things and spray it in there.
Yeah. So sorry about that, guys. When clicking on the
take the L.
Oh, should I bring? Oh, Rational has well, this is Supergirl related. William Sasha Kaye carried the marketing for Flash and Gunstuff. Flash is one of the favorite reviews of 2023. As Sasha didn't get to say Supergirl, do you think she was done dirty?
No, because this is not her story. The story that James Gunn is telling you. All you would be doing is shoehorning her in to a story that particular Supergirl does not fit in.
I will say it's like she and everybody else involved were done dirty by the situation.
Yeah, but that's not anything anybody can really. You could have asked for them. And once again, I'm not going to stay angry at people for not doing something that they were not capable of doing. James Gunn's never been a studio head before. And so he should have never had that situation in his hands. So there's a lot of people who didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They'll get better, hopefully, as long as they last. I can only hope that the people who screwed this up initially get better. I think there's a more chance for the people who are currently around to get better than the previous regime who just refused to get better. and we're wholly incapable of getting better. No, and be honest with you, that story, I have to see how in the long term this ends. I would bet that you will see her again in that role, just not part of this universe because she doesn't belong in this universe. She belongs in a story with the people that were in that story in that atmosphere. And that's really the only place I want to see Sasha Calle. And if that story's not happening immediately, then I don't need to see her as Supergirl. But I do want to see her again, though.
Yeah, I do. I want to see her with Gavel again. I mean, there's like, I think you're just so perfectly set up for each other. Dortnite says,
Kingdom Come with work.
But Dortnite says, and the Rowan beats the Rock, and the bloodline keeps going.
No, I think that they will finally end it. I think that they will end it with that because you will never get a higher point to end it on. You literally have the guy, the real head of the table, taking on basically what, for all intents and purposes, is an imposter. Roman Reigns calling himself the head of the table of the Naha'i family is a joke when The Rock is still on this planet. So, yeah. But, yeah, Dork Knight, I can see them. The way they book, who knows?
Yeah. Damn. Let's see. Yeah, sorry, my mouse is just, okay, I think I got under control, but and okay, how's it going, Rhea? How's it going, Rhea? And you mentioned Chappie. It's like
yeah, he says he's depressed.
I mean, it's interesting. Well, okay, but yeah, I'm trying to find the one where he's like depressed.
Oh no, he just says, guys, I've been really depressed today. So I saw that before I even turned on the stream. So.
Oh, do you put that on Twitter or something?
No, he put it in the chat. I'm just, like I said, I'm hoping, well, you're here now, Chappie. As long as you don't come in trying to get Cloverfield, everything's gonna be okay. Don't be fourth coming in trying to revive the Matrix. Just don't do it. I'm ready for all you motherfuckers. Okay. All
right. You're definitely gonna push back on this one for Rational. William, people wanted DC to say they should have went to see Black Adam. If they had went to see Black Adam, I think about Summers who still have Cal and Sasha.
Are you trolling me, Rational? Because I seem to be a target of trolling lately. But okay, I'm going to answer that. No, that's like you can't.
That was perfect there.
Yeah, no, you can't do what they did 5 years and then turn on a dime, throw some shit together. Throw a cameo in there, even though I know The Rock wanted more, but do what they did and expect people to be like, oh, wow, you shit on my forehead for 5 years? You know what? I'll go ahead and wipe that off, and I trust you now within the matter of days. No. If you would have spent those 5 years building up a universe and not giving me the, Harley Quinn and, stupid shit like that, if you would have led in to Black Adam, then I would have understand. And then I would have been like, yeah, people should have gone to see that. But you can't screw your customer and then turn them around and say, hey, how'd that feel? No, people did, and like I said, if you'd have done it the right way and built Superman through that movie, but ultimately it's all on this. Black Adam should have never been what the DCEU relied on. Black Adam is a Z-list character. If you're relying on the results of Black Adam to determine whether you're going to go forward, you're already fucked up as a company. Because there were so many things that the new regime, they had nothing to do with that movie. They had nothing to do with that movie. And they weren't going to make their decision on that box office anyway, because the box office was mostly sabotaged by the way the company was ran before they got in. So they weren't going to make a decision based on that. The decision in the DCEU, because it was Pat and Andy and DeLuca were working with it, they were going to do something, was the hiring of James Gunn. Once Zazoff, who led a very disorganized and screwy process to get James Gunn, once he made that decision, he basically did what I disagree with. He basically handed over everything to him, things that he had nothing to do with, things that he was not entangled with. He handed everything over to it, and then the decision-making kind of got screwed up from there. And I'd be honest with you, he did a disservice to James Gunn, because every time James Gunn pops up, people are going to be like, they're going to hate him. There were certain segments of the population or the fandom were going to hate him no matter what. But the general audience is like, what is this? So you can't tell fans that they should have gone to see one movie after they've been pretty much had, the shovel of shit piled on them for the previous 5 years. That's not the way the client, customer, retail relation works. You have to build credibility and you have to sustain that credibility. They didn't. So you can't blame that on Black Adam, and you can't blame that on fans that did what DC wanted them. DC pushed them away and they stayed away. All right, next one.
Yeah, well, you might need to bring up the next one because I'm a little freezing up here. But I do love how whenever William talks about how they were using the B-list and C-list characters as the tentpoles for so long. So first one he always goes to is Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn.
Yeah, the expectation that you started with was what you had to stay with. Let's see the answer. No, she was created and used to fit a particular version. And the same thing that's going on with Millie Aycock's Supergirl. This is to tell a different story. And be honest with you, I don't want this current creative group handling those characters unless they are going to operate them as a separate universe. In I want one more appearance of Sasha Calle, and that's fighting Shazam in a Kingdom Come movie, while The Rock fights, an older Cavill. That's what I want. All right. Blame Brad.
Yeah, I was about to pull that one up for like.
Yeah, it's not this. Is it this week? It may be this week, but I'm ready for it. I already have the roof repairmen ready. They know they need to be there, and that shit needs to be working. And I'm already ready with buckets everywhere I go. So I think it's supposed to rain this weekend, but I know it's supposed to rain just a little bit though. It's not going to be heavy. Hello, yeah, hit the like and subscribe button. Yeah, like, subscribe, and share. Yep, I gave it 10 minutes. I gave it 5 minutes because that's all I got for it. Yeah, and like I said, I think anyone he would have chosen would have been the right. But whatever the creator and the framer of the story and the one who's handling the story, whoever he picked would have been the right person. He could have picked an unknown chick that I've never heard of. If that's what his vision was, I would have been on board with it. All right. Let's see. Supergirl. Yeah, we still got 2 years, and that's another reason. Like I said, I'm in a couple minutes. I'm gonna jump into the WBD. So 2 years with the situation that what WBD is in could be like 7,000 years. Let's see. Who's playing the Swamp Thing's gonna be some guy in CGI. You're never gonna see the guy anyway.
Yeah.
So. How you doing? Fun.
Yeah, well, do you think they might do another kind of man like they did with the 90s show and with the DC Universe show where it might be like a guy in a suit again, or do you think it'll be CGI again?
There's so many. In order to, this is just my opinion, in order to visually exploit all the aspects of that universe and what Swamp Thing means, I think you have to do a certain measure of CGI. You can do some practical, obviously, but there's got what the things that he can do, especially in the mid to late 90s. I really want to see them exploit all that, and I don't want to see them be limited by practical. Supergirl. Yeah, and like I said, it's a different Supergirl story. It's a different Supergirl story. Like I said, I don't. How many of you guys in the chat currently have read Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow? Because if you read that and you just put Sasha Calle right here, and then you read that story, you'll understand that she's not a fit for that, and she's a fit for what they were doing with her in the Flash, and whatever subsequent thing they may or may not do. But she wouldn't have been a fit for that particular one. And like I said, I want to see one more. I want to see one more shot of that Sasha Calle. I want to see one more shot of that Supergirl because, like I said, I want to see a Kingdom Come. And just wrap that up. Whether you ever do finish the Dark Side story arc, that can be left for so many different ways. But a Big Bang movie with The Rock facing Cavill, in Kingdom Come, and because they set it up in the Shazam movies, they actually had Mr. Mind in there twice and didn't do shit with him. And if you read Kingdom Come, there's that little mind control worm. It's not Mr. Mind, but you could just retcon it. You could do whatever you want there. And you have Billy Batson just going bad. and he's working for, he could be working for Lex Luthor. And like I said, you just give me a good 2 hour and 45 minutes send off to that. It would be a lot of fun, and I think it would make a lot of money. Yeah, Dune Part 2. I'll start making some announcements here pretty soon about locally for you guys. I don't know if we're going to do digital. We're going to be doing digital tickets. I hope so. I hope, but I know we've been told that we will be getting we will be doing a screening. So I'm really going to lean into that because, like I said, I was ready to lean into it in November, and all that happened there. So, so yeah, we're going to be doing a lot with Dune. Our screening is the last. I think the last Tuesday or Wednesday before March 1st. So it's coming up in a couple of weeks. So we're gonna do a screening of the original Dune. We may do a watch along for us, and then I'm definitely gonna do a drive-in out in the parking lot with weather permitting. So I can't wait. I mean, like I said, I waited more than I should have. Should have waited. You're still trying to fix your You're still trying to fix up. I'm not sweating, William. It's a misdirection.
Yeah.
The championship needs to be saved and turned into another workhorse championship. They're not waiting another year for Roman to lose. But Cody's not tied to Roman. See, that's the thing I don't understand why people, just because last year, and Seth laid it out 100% right. There was only the one undisputed title last year. So this night you don't have that situation. He's not tied to Roman like that. His story is tied to the title shot, winning that title, a world championship. It's not tied. Where does everyone get this? It has to be Roman shit from. It does not. Roman ain't even on the show he's on. Roman's on SmackDown when he shows up. They don't even interact at all. So it doesn't make any sense for it to be Roman. Just because it was last year? No. Him winning the Royal Rumble, just spit out one, whatever. Him winning the Royal Rumble and getting a title shot and winning a title shot at WrestleMania, pointing at that sign. That's the story. The story that is come out after that is to me is for Roman is a better shot because he's that only he could wrestle that match. If they do end up rolling the Rock out there, and who knows whether they do, only those two make sense for that match. The match between Roman and him doesn't make any sense anymore. So I don't understand why people. It's got to be Roman. Right? You haven't even seen Roman but 5 times in the years. It doesn't make any sense. That's I feel, and I don't think it's a misdirection because once again. You can criticize WWE for a lot of the stuff that they do when it comes to their storylines, but they don't bring out elements that they don't use. They do not bring out elements that they don't use. They brought The Rock out there, and he said what he said. And they brought Rollins out there, and he said what he said. And now all you need now is The Rock. So who knows? But this whole notion that it's got to be wrong. Why? No, why? Why? When have they ever said that the Roman Reigns beating Roman Reigns was the story? It was a story last year under a whole bunch of different circumstances. It is not the same. And then, like I said, Seth laid it out. I don't think that's misdirection. Yeah, but she's a variant that they should wrap up along with that universe. Like I said. Sloppy endings lead to sloppy beginnings, and they lead to credibility, and that's that's why, like I said, this is my key to the DCU as of right now. Yeah, they ended the Roman with Cody calling out Roman. The crowd chanted no. Yeah, but you know what? By the end of that, they were chanting yes, and they were doing his chant. So. Now, why is that best for business? Where the fuck has Roman Reigns been during the year that all this has gone down? They aren't even on the same show. It makes no sense. He's on the superior brand. Cody and Seth Rollins are on Raw, the main show. Whoever challenged him for that title should be on the night too. Raw is the big show. You're not the only reason why they didn't do last year because it was he had both titles. It was undisputed. Now it's disputed now. You have 2 champions. They do not. His story is not tied to him anymore. Once you broke that belt up and Roman doesn't show up anymore, especially on Raw, then you ended that. So that important is just that's a. I don't understand why you guys think that that's what needs to happen. It does not need to happen. Yeah, you know what? And I saw people like saying good riddance and all that. And I'm like, people are fucking assholes. You know, I listen. I like the way Punk conducts himself all the time, but no, rooting for a professional athlete to be, to be hurt. I mean, this is their livelihood. It's not that serious, and it sucked. It sucked that he's snake bitten. You know, every time he's been injured in the same areas for like the last year, and that every time he gets injured and has to spend time away, he ends up being rusty, and that's what leads to other injuries. Terminator Salvation was horrible. Let's see. No, you can like something and still admit it should have never been made. I like the Suicide Squad. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I enjoyed that movie. You know, I made a connection with the characters, but it should have never been made. You can't do these characters like that and then wonder why the box office is bad. You have to have, and like I said, and give James Gunn credit, you have to have a plan for Batman and Superman if you're going to do these derivative characters. If you see what James Gunn is doing, and what I suspect he's doing, the way you do this right, is he's doing the A-listers alongside the Z-listers. What DC did was, prior, to that was do the Z-listers instead of the A-listers. So even though I like Shazam, I liked all these movies, but I will say, stand on that rock that they shouldn't have been made. And I enjoyed those. I really enjoyed the first Shazam movie, but where the fuck is Superman? I really enjoyed, the Suicide Squad, but where the hell's the rest of the Justice League? You see what I mean? You can't liking those movies and is one thing, but truthfully saying that without a strategy in place to support those movies, they shouldn't have been made. We're not letting Fourth on. Time Fourth out. Yeah, the hierarchy of power might change from one CEO to another. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. William, do you think Gal Gadot is staying as Wonder Woman? She said she has a 3rd movie in development. I don't know. I don't know because I don't know, to be honest with you. Everybody wants to say, oh, no, he'll never do that. Everybody likes to say so-and-so will never do what? From the safety of their keyboards. You just say you don't know. Just be honest. I don't know. And I don't know. I don't know what Wonder Woman, what Paradise Lost is going to look like. What kind of Wonder Woman is featured then. I mean, he's never said that he's casting any new Wonder Woman. He's never said one thing out of the way. So I've just got to wait and see on that one. Once again, we are keyboard warriors. We are not running shit. We don't know shit. We are guessing at shit. So when you say 0 chance, there's 0 chance in your opinion, but there's a bunch of people out here that have made a recent career out of being wrong. And what you think could happen, what you think should happen, doesn't mean shit to what could happen and what will eventually happen. We don't run this show. We're all witnesses, guessing. And we're not really good at it, by the way. It's already a cluster of a mess. Have you not been paying attention? It's a cluster right now. It's a cluster with a 40% chance success rate. So there you go. I know I want to get William. Well, okay, I mean, no one really, like I said, we're guessing. And be honest with you, look at some of the stuff that you all have typed on your whatevers and see how wrong you've been for the most part. When you post these things, say you have in your opinion, I don't think. That's how you should preface it. But other than that, you're guessing. You're guessing just along with us. I mean, an opinion is one thing. I have an opinion, but don't be surprised if your absolutes turn into, oh shit, he really did that type of thing. Yeah, Amelia Aycock. They casted her earlier this afternoon. Yeah, it's Tom King's best work. I'll just go ahead and say it. It's Tom King's best work. Yeah, and it's really starting to piss me off because I can't, Clint, I can't operate in that store. I can't do what I need to do in that part of the store, and I can't put the things in that really make that part of the store work until the fucking roof is done. And they've been over and over and over again. Just fucking fix it for a good one time. Yeah, we're definitely doing something for Dude too. I really want to do a drive-in. If not, I'll do a courtyard showing. But I definitely want to do something big. I want to bring people in for Dune 1, and then probably use that event to give away the tickets for Dune 2. You never know. But once again, it goes. The door swings both ways. There, we don't know what they won't do either. There's a lot of stuff, like I said, especially with Zaslav. He says one thing and he says the other. And once again, all these people involved will have to adjust to the market. Yeah, and so do I. Like I said, being a comic book collector, I've all these rooms in there, and you get the people who are like, well, they won't do that while they're doing this. It's just bullshit. That's shit you say to yourself when you hear your own voice and you start to get convinced about what your own voice is saying. They're gonna do what makes money. They're gonna do what makes money. Poppycock. Oh, jeez, I knew that was gonna go there. It's a better story if Cody is one that he's don't. No, it's not. If The Rock wasn't available, then yeah. Even still, not really. But it's literally in their blood. Come on, the storyline is in their blood. RJ, the Universal Championship is a premiere. No, it's not. It's on SmackDown, dude. You know SmackDown is the B show. You understand that SmackDown is not the A show. Period. Your Friday night show is not your top show. That is thousands and thousands of viewers, if not hundreds of thousands of viewers, lesser than your Raw. Raw is the one, when you put down TV rights, look what Raw got and look what SmackDown got. So if that's your premier championship, it's on your B show. So I don't buy that either. But hey, William, I don't like that SmackDown and Raw have different rosters and are different shows. It was better back in the day when they had you had to watch Raw to understand what was happening on SmackDown. Yeah, but you also got too many wrestlers too. The WWE rosters, back in the day, you what you would do is you would have them on Raw, and then they would continue to SmackDown, and then at one point you had like Sunday Night Heat. Remember that? You had those shows, and you would just jump from the same people would jump from one show. Then after the brand split in 2002, 2003, their roster got bloated because once again, a lot of people didn't have anywhere to go, and they all came to WWE. And you had literally twice as many wrestlers that you could use, so they had to do a brand split. And if you look at it, all you had to do is watch Royal Rumble and realize that there are too many wrestlers in WWE right now. That includes NXT. There are too many wrestlers, and you don't have a lot of TV time. And even Raw at 3 hours, which is an hour too long, that's not enough time to showcase them. So you kind of have to, in showcasing the same people that are on Raw defeats the purpose when you have that many people on your roster. So yeah, I remember back in the day, but there was a reason why they did it back then. And in wrestling, not as many people were watching wrestling on TV as they are or as they were then. So. I wonder what the hell happened to Brad. Okay. All right. Cody winning the Rumble was predictable, but it was poorly executed. But I'm fine with that. He doesn't need to face Roman Reigns again. I mean, him winning the Rumble means he can choose it. He can call his shot. I really hope that they follow this too. But like I said. I love how Williams' remote control is just sitting in the drawer. No, I have it here because I have the TV, the main TV is right here, and I have screens, so it's like right here. So when I'm working usually and on stuff that I have to do, like I got to do my taxes tonight, or this morning, I'm going to be watching TV and flipping back and forth. So. You guys are going to laugh at me, but it would be Keelar. It would be Jason Keelar. He's from the generation that understands where these companies need to go on every level. It would be him, or somebody just like him, but to me, it would be Keelar. It's a mess, but I wouldn't say it's a mess at all. At least nothing like the mess. No, nothing like a dysfunctional deal. But it is derivative of that, though. Like I said, it is being put into, it is erupting from the ashes of what that was, and it didn't get a very good start. I think they're in a better spot than the previous regime are, because the previous regime didn't care. I don't agree with how James Gunn was positioned here. I agree with him being positioned, but how this came about is going to probably hurt them somewhere down the line. But they'll get past that. The main thing is the difference between the previous regime is there was nobody in there like a James Gunn that actually cared. He's picking storylines like looks like JLI-ish type of shit that I don't like. But you know what? At least he knows what that is. At least he understands what that is. At least he has an affinity of what that is. These other cats, other than Jeff Johns, who literally, like I said, without an editor, without a boss to say no, was a disaster. These James Gunn understands what Supergirl World Tomorrow, Woman of Tomorrow means. At least he understands about certain characters, even if I don't agree with who he's picking. Because like right now, he's lining his universe with characters that literally make me put comic books down and pick up another comic. Oops, the Authority, let me put that down. Oh, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, or whatever, things like that. But listen, somebody loves those characters. Somebody has made a connection to Booster Gold and Blue Beetle, even though I have absolutely zero use for them. Somebody's connecting with those characters. At least he understands the comic book connection to those characters. I don't have to like everything he's done, but at least I would take James Gunn over that the pile of wasted shit that they replace any day of the week. So
I guess sorry, it's like I just ended up having a reboot with that. I had enough windows open, they were freezing, so it's like jump out for 15 minutes. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. I am leaning towards him too, because he's hiding some shady shit. But to right now, and we only have 3 episodes left. Listen, I didn't do a full-on review of True Detective. This show is fucking creepy. This show is creepy as fuck. It's like an X-Files episode, but not X-Files is never this creepy. The dude sitting up talking to Navarro like that before he crashes or whatever, that was some shit out of The Shining, the good parts of The Shining, which the whole the tattooing thing and the whole being lost in the ice cave before the girl died. I mean, everything's, for those of you who haven't watched it, it's creepy. It starts out with this episode starts out with a baby being born and not breathing. And the intensity is because of the water and everything that's going on there. It affects infant mortality. So that was one of the things that they're protesting against in the show. But the baby's goes minutes. You're like, oh shit, are they gonna? This baby gonna die in the first 5 minutes of the show? And then the baby start, spoiler alert, but hey, it's the baby lives. But it was like the game of House of the Dragon. That show opens up with bad childbirth and the mother and child dying in there, and then goes on to beheadings. I mean, that's just some intense shit, man. But it's HBO, man. But yeah, I'm leaning towards him too. But I think there may be some people that we're not seeing that they haven't specified. But we only got 3 episodes to get to the point.
Let me see if there's any you had pulled up here that I want to highlight.
No, he didn't do anything this time. It's what he's done. So I'll go ahead and get to that. WBD. There's another stock. You notice they're on the same arrow going down. TKO stock took a plunge today after even with Royal Rumble and all that. Reason why I put it up there, because it's very weird for that to happen. Not weird, but expected given what's going on. That just generally doesn't happen. Usually WWE stock, and I've had that stock before, after the 4 pay-per-views, the 4 majors, it goes up. This should have been a week for WWE to bathe in the sunlight. Even though the Royal Rumble kind of sucked for the most part, enough people liked it, and it's the Royal Rumble, period. You had The Rock becoming your CEO, or not CEO, but a board member. You had Royal Rumble itself. You had a $5 billion. I'm echoing to your thing. You had a $5 billion Netflix TV rights purchase. These are things. That's all in a week. But guess what happened in that?
And then Vince McMahon came out and shit all over it. Oh, I'm sorry, poor choice of words.
Literally, and here's the thing, though. As somebody who's been tracking this shit since before the internet, we knew what a fucking scumball this guy was in the mid '90s when that steroid trial. He got off on the steroid trial on a technicality. They were going to try to put Vince in federal prison, and there was a whole bunch of people that built up WWE that had to testify against him. And how he got out of that, and I'm like, it started to click that this guy is completely sneezy. It became more apparent after that bogus sale of WCW, that was engineered by Jamie Kellner, who's a piece of shit. When there was nowhere else to go, you started to hear about, because like I said, when your boss treats you like that, and there's nowhere to go, to make your livelihood. You can't really say anything. You have to do it in background. You start hearing rumors because shit does get out, but you never start seeing the accusations. It never rises to the surface because nobody, hey, I'm NWWE, I'm making this money, and there's nowhere else. Where am I going to go? The NWA, TNA wasn't big at that time. There was no AEW. So, but you started to hear things, especially with the internet, and all this everything. You started hearing things, but you just knew the guy was a scumball under the surface. He wasn't just playing one. But then as things go on, and then like I said, the last 3 years especially, where the lady who brought all this out now was the original lady who filed the original lawsuit, and they had the NDA, because once Linda McMahon left, everybody started, and his daughter started resign. I mean, when your daughter resigns, when daddy comes in and your daughter resigns and says fuck it, and now you know why Shane McMahon wasn't involved. So you just started to hear it, and now the public is looking at it, and they're like, ooh. But like I said, it was the graphic nature of the infringement. It was of the crime, or allegedly crime, and the whole sex trafficking thing. You never want your company, no matter what you're selling, unless it's legalized prostitution, like escorting and all that. You never want your business associated with sex trafficking or anything else that's in those texts or anything else that was described. Like I said. The whole defecation thing that came up in court, that's, if I'm a stockholder, I'm like, ooh, so yeah, their stock went down on a week that their stock should have been, climbing. I mean, you come off a good paper, and it was, like I said, there were some good things about Royal Rumble to talk about, but when all the podcasts and all the things I'm watching about, they were talking about Royal Rumble, but they couldn't escape the monkey, the elephant in the room, especially, like I said, when you had Slim Jim pulling out 18 hours before he resigns and they go back in. So it's starting to affect the money and the sponsorship. So yeah, that and when you have stuff like that, there's your stock plunge. So
there's a couple. I wasn't sure if he brought these up yet, William. So there's a couple I'll highlight here. Where was that? I gotta scroll back up here to see a couple of these.
I didn't even know who Nicholas Hoult was. So see, that's where I'm at with it.
He was Beast. He was Beast in the X-Men movies.
Okay, there we go. Dude, which ones?
No, in the from First Class on, kind of the prequel / reboot, whatever term you want to assign to it. He was the not Kelsey Grammer Beast, and he was the one you saw in human form, basically.
Okay, he was a Hint McCoy without the blooper. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. Reyes says, I have ruined my heart for all the super.
Put that one up. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we do too. And Dort Knight. Where I can't find this one all of a sudden. The Dort Knight. Well, basically, he asked, it's like, would you say the WB with the way they treat their fans, or the okay, here it is. Yeah. Are they the Vince McMahon of the studio world? How they treat their fans, and by that I mean old WB.
No, because one of the prior group that ran WB were just not competent in their roles. They could not function in the roles that they were at. Vince can. What Vince did was out of malice and malice, and what they did was out of just disorganization and inability to perform at that level. Vince did it out of malice because he believed he had that kind of power. Now, if there was a bunch of sex scandals, I mean, we had one with Tsuchihara.
Tsuchihara, yeah.
Yeah, there was not a culture of sexual harassment in that, and that's a big deal because you got women working for you. There's a lot of women on the WWE roster going down from both brands all the way, and so you basically the prior WB regime made it the product unpleasant for fans at that time. WWE with Vince McMahon made the work environment unpleasant and unsafe. You have people being abused in traffic. That's not
well.
good.
I mean, but I mean, I would say that if you're going to, yeah, sorry, clearing my throat. I mean, I would say like you could definitely, even if you wouldn't necessarily extrapolate that to the whole studio environment, you could definitely, apply that comparison to the Justice League reshoot environment.
Well,
like I would absolutely attribute.
That's one movie, though. I could see if it was the culture of the company, but we're talking. He's the one movie is not the studio. You see what I mean? Vince McMahon was the whole WWE. He was up until he was until the merger and he was fired. There were aspects of WB that you could go and not deal with Joss Whedon and that disorganization. But there was no aspect you could go to at WWE and deal. Vince was everywhere. He ran the entirety of the company. So it's a little bit different. And plus, we're talking about people acting unprofessionally versus literally rape.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. They're fun. Aaron asks, "Do you think TKO stocks will go down even more?" I would be surprised.
Yeah, but then I think they'll go back up. I think as we get further away from the situation, because there's a tremendous upside to the company right now, as we get away from the immediacy of what's going on, I think it will start to creep up. But it's just been a bad weekend. That should have been a great weekend, and that hurts you.
Well, and Aaron also has another one here. What are your thoughts on Nikki and Bree's statement?
I have not seen it. Somebody texted me about it. Did I ask me about it? I did not see it. I can't. I know that they had issues. And I think that's one of the reasons why the entire family ended up leaving out of there, because even Daniel Bryant, who's married to one of them. I don't want to speak on that because I did not hear the details yet, Aaron. But I'll take a look at that. But I can't imagine it's good.
And the fourth or Fun also says, if it goes, you think the TKO stocks will go down if they go to court?
Yeah, no, they'll settle though. They'll settle. They'll take over where Vince fucked up, and they'll settle with her. They can't have that out there. You can't. Just look what little that we've had out there has done to them. You give her pay her. What was she supposed to get? 3? Give her 6 or 7. Trust me, it's worth it. And then do a complete sweep of your company. And anybody that you think that could bring this about again, as far as like that may have been involved with it or actively involved with it, you got to get rid of them, and you start letting everybody know this is a safe environment. But you can't, and if there's a criminal allegation, you got to figure out how legally you're going to get out of that. But yeah, you got to what was it? We'll bring that up again because I was still my train of thought.
If it goes to court.
Yeah, if it goes to court, but I think they'll settle. I think they'll settle because, like I said, there's just too many graphic details out there that you just don't want out there.
Yeah, that's true. And like, how much does this overlap though with the other? Like, is TKO part of WB Discovery?
No.
Okay, because I'm wondering, like, does that cross over into the other stock related story? Which I guess
no. The stock related story when it comes to them. Let's go ahead. I'm going to bring that up because I'm going to go ahead and read it because there's a lot of factors here that that as fans and I know we just don't pay attention to, and the reason I'm bringing this up is it's really important for you to understand why I have very little faith right now. All this could change, that this will be followed through. So all the stuff that we're talking about and getting excited about, when you look at where the company is, the parent company. And the boss, the guy who brought these people in, where he's at with the company, that's important. as much as you should be paying attention of who's getting casted and this and all that, you need to be paying attention of who's running the company. Because if somebody else comes in who and runs the company a different way, like I said, there's no, they could interpret what success to the new guy isn't necessarily success. What success means to us.
Well, and actually to that point, Rhea she's having a similar sort of one-liner I've had, because there a couple of people asked like, Rhea starts with like, if you had to handpick next CEO for WBD, who would it be? And Rhea,
I bought that. Yeah,
Rhea follows up with Kylar. So, well, I've made that joke. It's like I'd find it hilarious if like if the situation ended up being the Zaslev ended up leaving and Kylar came back.
Yeah, and that's who when she asked that question while you were gone, that's who I answered. Right,
so you would like, even without that, you would pick Kylar?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't have anything to do with any irony. He is the right guy for the moment, in my opinion. All right, Warner Brothers Discovery stock falls after analysts downgrade on lower M&A likelihood. Now, M&A means merger and acquisition. That's what they're talking about. So there's your bibliography. Slower max growth and ad declines. All right, Warner Brothers Discovery probably won't see a transformative M&A deal this year. And given negative trends in its TV and streaming business, Wells Fargo analysts issued a downgrade on the media conglomerate stock. Wells Fargo on Monday downgraded its rating of WBD down from equal weight from overweight and trimmed its price from $16 to $12. God damn it. It's $4. Get rid of this shit. Per share, shares of Warner Brothers Discovery dropped as much as 3.5 before closing on Monday at 10.49 a share, down 1.2 on the day. Hey guys, if you're in the stock market and you want a cheap stock, here you go. Among the factors for this downgrade, Wells Fargo team is less favorable of the chance of a bigger merger or acquisition involving Warner Brothers Discovery transpiring in 2024. Amid speculation that potential deals, the Wall Street firm has pushed the prospect of Comcast merging with WBD, but the analyst team led by Stephen Cale noted that Comcast CEO Brian Roberts last week downplayed the need to pursue a major deal. The analyst added that even if an M&A transaction takes place, we don't see any urgency in an election year because you got SEC filings and all that. And you got Congress and people that might fight it or might be more pliable to it. So that's why he says that Paramount Global or some of its assets like CBS could be available, they wrote. But equity and this is something I've been saying the whole time. Equity investors have a very limited tolerance for more debt, regardless of the strategic rationale. And I've been saying that for a while. The absence of an M&A deal, Warner Brothers Discovery's growth opportunities are primarily organic. The Wells Fargo analyst wrote, looking back, the ad market hasn't improved. Direct-to-consumer streaming growth has slowed as HBO content was lighter in 23. Max is perhaps not marrying the legacy Discovery content with the HBO fans. Now, before we go on, there's two things that I spotted right there. Their content load, and it's not getting better in 2024 because of in my opinion, I think this is an error, but I'm not a CEO of a company, that they are pulled back on the direct to streaming investing in that content. Remember how they said we're not going to invest a lot of money because we don't see it. This is the kind of thing that analysts look at when they say, well, where's your content? Your content is what keeps your customers. Your content is what keeps the retention, and your content what helps grows.
And this is as far as HBO Max, right?
Yeah. And so HBO content was lighter in 2023. And then something I disagreed with doing before is merging the Discovery entity into the Max entity. Because I said at the time, there's two drastically pimple popper people aren't necessarily House of Dragon people. there are some overlaps there, but it's not enough to where that value. And what ends up happening is that cheap ass streaming services that was Discovery Plus basically got bundled into a much more expensive HBO Max. And even though HBO Max is still relatively cheap, if you were paying $4 and $5 and $6 for what Discovery Plus was worth, now you got bundled into that eventually. So, all right, let's see. Max is perhaps a Maryland legacy content with HBO fan base and licensing. Is another thing that you're going to hear. You're going to hear things like we've brought up here before, but you're hearing them in this article now.
You're going to hear banned topics, basically.
Yeah. And licensing of marquee titles seems to be off the table given their contribution to Max engagement. So now that is actually something a little bit not advanced. People keep asking me why wouldn't they license something like the Zack Snyder's Justice League? Because it lessens your content engagement. Well, the more you do that, so you're going to license some, but you're not going to license others, and you're not going to license the big 4-hour one that's still giving you engagement. So we were bringing that up before.
Well, but Aaron says don't diss Dr. Purple Popper.
I'm just saying it's a different audience, and it scores. The Wells Fargo answer wrote the firm forecast max net ads to be more than 2.5 million in 2024, driven by international expansion. That launch was done horribly. That growth rate is lagging that of Netflix, Disney Plus, Peacock, or Paramount. That's something that they inherited from the previous regime, and the way they blew that.
That name change though. It's like I can't help but think
that
name changed.
Well, when they launched it, they did not have a global plan back in the day. So the analyst firm expects that ad revenue for Warner Brothers Discovery to come in at $8.7 billion in 2023, which includes 13% decline at its TV networks and projects consolidating, ad revenue dropping 5% in 2024 to $8.3 billion. Our checks suggest that there hasn't been much of an improvement in linear ads between Q4 and AVOD. And being pressured too much by a plethora of inventory that will likely continue from Amazon Prime ads. Wells Fargo team wrote. Meanwhile, content licensing is a double-edged sword for the company. The analyst said WBD has licensed some HBO and Warner Brothers titles to services, including Netflix. The company could boost their adjusted earnings and free cash flow by licensing marquee titles like The Sopranos, Game of Thrones, or Friends. To third-party streamers instead of Max, which could be worth billions of untapped revenue potential. But that would depress Max engagement to the tune of about 27 minutes a day and lower usage, thereby driving up cancellation. Per the Wells Fargo team's estimate, management is caught between DTC and deleveraging through these licensing deals, the analyst noted. After a thorough scrub of 2024 earnings estimates for Warner Brothers Discovery, Wells Fargo reduced its projected adjusted EBITDA by 5% to $9.98 billion. HBO's original state is originally stronger in 24 and could support beating Wall Street expectations, while licensing first strategy could reaccelerate earnings. Wells Fargo wrote, on the other hand, the analyst added 2024 growth initiatives for WBD are to be determined, and NBA rights could add to lower future EBITDA, and that's estimated. I forgot what that they really should have put that in there, but Ray probably knows what that is. So basically, they're caught between a rock and a hard spot.
Yeah, so really, it's like a lot of that is like a lot of financial talk that if you're not like if you're not a math person, basically, which I am not, it's like a lot of that might be a little bit hard to just. So basically, William, just break all that down for us. What does that mean as far as like their current situation as a studio, and like as you've been saying, like why you take the arm's length relationship with the DC Studios plans right now, as far as how this could play into that.
Okay, so before we get to that, EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. So there you go. So basically, this is like before everybody gets their cut. All right, so it's not stable. It's just not a stable environment. And when you have people downgrading your stock, it downgrades your prestige as a company, and it downgrades. It affects the position of everybody running things. Usually I don't know too many CEOs that survive that many, that kind of downgrading, especially when you're bringing in that much debt when you bought the company. And it's tied directly to his decision making. It was his decision to merge the content that was on Discovery to HBO Max. And I thought that was a mistake. I thought there's just the people that are interested in that will have both streaming services. You basically made a lot. You probably lost in general as a company because, like I said, there's a lot of people who don't have HBO Max that have Discovery because it was much cheaper, and there's a lot of stuff that people like on that.
Well, and also, I mean, I would think, if you as a company, you got two streaming services. I mean, it's like you're getting two for the price of one there if you keep them both active individually.
Yeah, and I think the merging of it might have turned more Discovery people off because of the price jump. You're going, a huge price jump. Another thing that that they bought up is there's just no, they're going to have to make some decisions. They are going to have to license content. I understand what you're saying in that article as far as like you decrease the attractability of your streaming services when you're farming these things out. But there's an answer to that, and they're going to have to do this. I said, you are going to have to invest into the streaming service. You are going to have to invest enough new content that keeps people coming and staying, and then they haven't done that.
Well, and that's, I mean, that kind of, goes back to like the kind of the contrast of philosophy between Kylar and Zaslav, which is Kylar, I mean, it's like was all about HBO Max, being the principal source of revenue for Warner Brothers, under the merger with AT&T, and then Zaslav took completely opposite stance, where it's like we're all about the theatrical experience, and we're just kind of Max, as it became, is kind of more of like a almost more like a side thing, for like just like ancillary revenue, and as you're pointing out, it's like, oh, that's not going to be tenable.
No, and and here's the thing though, and like I said, I know the old Hollywood guys are like, you're making a stupid decision by putting something directly on streaming. Why are you putting Roadhouse on streaming? Here's why. There is they need volume. They need cash volume. Everything you read there is about them trying to free up money and find money. They need cash volume, and you're not going to get that in the theaters right now. And there's no amount of prestige that you can, if you put it in the theater, it's going to do better on streaming. You don't have that kind of time. Maybe some other Wonderland, but what's happening is there's not enough volume in the theaters. How many movies? Somebody look this up for me. How many movies does Warner Brothers release a year?
That's a good question. I'll look up like what they have coming up this year to kind of probably give everybody an idea about that. But
so if it's 12 movies a year, not all of those are going to be $1 billion movies. You're probably going to
and these days probably you'll be lucky if even one of them is going to be $1 billion movie, post COVID.
So depending on how many movies that they release, there's just not the kind of volume coming in to increase the value. Whereas if you're investing in the streaming, you're spending some money, but your retention is there and people are coming back. That's why Netflix does what Netflix does. That's why Netflix dropped 400 million on things. That's why Netflix is dropping 5 billion. You have to keep things, you have to make it attractive for people to stay. And what they need to do right now is they need to do the same thing that TKO did with WWE. They need to sit down with Tony Khan and do the same thing with him, because right now you're getting AEW is a 5-year-old company. They're basically a baby of a company. You can't really compare them to WWE because of that, but they're not always going to be a baby of a company. And what they need to do is get on the ground level and get their stuff and some of their weekly content on that show. Wrestling does well on Turner's networks. They have 2 flagship shows. One of them's on Saturday and one of them's on Wednesday, and then they have the little pygmy one on Friday. But you look at what else. If it's not the NBA, or NHL, it's not drawing. It's not drawing unless it's wrestling. So,
and by the way, I just looked up, on the 2024 Wikipedia, like the list of 2024 in film, on Wikipedia. Warner Brothers has 10 movies coming up this year.
Okay.
And the first one is Dune Part 2.
Okay, let's be.
So they don't even have one coming up until March.
Yeah, let's be completely ridiculous and say every one of those is going to make 10 billion. So you make 10 billion a year. That's not 10 billion you're keeping. We already know the percentages that go out. We already know the bonuses that get back. Dune, you're paying some bonuses because that's a rock star cast with some Academy Awards winners. You got Christopher Walken in that movie. You got some big. You got Timothée Chalamet. You got some big names in that movie. So you're diminishing returns there.
Godzilla, I'm going to list them off, and Godzilla X Kong is the next one after that, and then just bear with me here, everybody. Which of these is Furiosa? The Watchers, Horizon, American Saga Chapter 1, Trap, something called Trap, Horizon 2. So both out this year, okay. Oh, so it might be like 11 or 12. I might have miscounted. So Beetlejuice 2. What else they got? Joker Folie à Deux. They've got Twisters coming up. They've got Alto Knights. They have Lord of the Rings, The War of Ramir, and I think that's everything.
You can stop. There's nothing there that's going to pull you. That
Joker 2 probably has the best shot at $1 billion out of all that.
12 billion. You say 12 billion. Okay, let's all say they do $1 billion. They're not, but let's say they all do 12 billion, right? You're in 2024, and you're dealing with the modern day family dynamic of what you can afford. If you do this math. All right now, I think HBO Max has anywhere between 40 to 65 million subscribers. So your goal, let's say your goal needs to be to get to 75 million subscribers. If you do the math at what, $16 a month?
Yeah.
How much is that?
Let me tell you that up. So
Ray has probably already got it done, but I'm a dummy. But
Yeah, I'm not. I always need a calculator for these kinds of things. So, so 16 times what, 75?
Yeah, $75. Or no, 75 times $16, like
75 million subscribers.
Yeah. Probably could just add some zeros, but like I said,
okay. Yeah. That's 1.2. I'm reading it. I think that's 12 billion is what I'm saying, or is it 1.2? Oh hell,
it's probably 1.2 billion.
Yeah, it's 1.2 billion.
Okay, so
because it doesn't have the commas come up when you do calculator on Google.
And I know we're embarrassing ourselves by not being able to do this, but hey, Google, how much is 75 million times $16?
The answer is 1,200,000,000.
You're right, 1.2.
Okay.
Okay, so hey Google, how many subscribers does Disney Plus have?
According to Variety, Disney Plus topped 150 million streaming subscriptions by the end of its fiscal fourth quarter of the year, up from 146.7 million in the previous quarter.
That's a lot.
On Wednesday, Disney reported core Disney Plus subscriptions are at 112.6 million subs as of the quarter ending Sept.
Hey Google, how many subscribers does HBO Max have?
Hey Google, might say Max.
Hey Google, how many subscribers does Max have?
According to Variety, streaming subscribers across WBD's HBO, Max and Discovery Plus now total 95.8 million, per the company's Q2 earnings report released Thursday. For comparison, HBO Max and Discovery Plus added 1.1 million subscribers in Q4 to end 2022 with a total of 96.1 million worldwide.
All right. Okay, so we're even further. So let's do this. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt because we know we have some crossovers, but it's still revenue coming through HBO, through cable companies. So we're going to do this. Okay. Hey, Google. What's 98 million times $16?
The answer is 1,568,000,000.
Yeah, that's magical. Right. and it's undefeated. It defeated us both right now.
Hey, Google. What is 1.5 million? I'm sorry. Hey, Google, what is 1.5 billion times 12?
The answer is 18 million.
That's not right.
That is not no. Okay. Oh.
It's 18 billion. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So right there, if you focused on that.
Yes, 18,240,000,000. Yeah.
Okay. So and that's just with 98. They're not even that the potential for them to go up is just as high as any other company. So why, if you're pulling in 1.2 billion a month, and you can get even higher than that, why are you not investing in content that's directly for that platform? And I understand the dinosaurs are like, with the theater experience is the only way to see these movies. I'm all right, but listen, that shit don't pay bills. And obviously, we just read an article about them having problems with cash.
Their stocks in the toilet, yeah.
Yeah, because there's nothing on, and the main reason why, one of the reasons that they stated it was because of Max. So they're licensing out content, which they can do to make money, which is, come on, where have you heard that before? Yeah. Something I said, like, been saying that for 2 years, and that's why anybody who tells me that and we won't even go into that, any of the shit that you think that can't be done when there's money involved, you guys are using fanboy logic, and you're basically ramming your head into the drywall right now. So,
whenever we say it's a banned topic, it just comes back.
Well, no, this is the topic we're on, but what you can't you can't be in a situation where you have to decide whether to keep certain content on because it keeps the trackability of your stream and not be able to license out. You needed to be backfilling that shit so that you can do both. So you can't, what they're basically caught in right now is they can't take advantage of one revenue stream because it might hurt another because they haven't invested into the infrastructure that allows them to do both. So when you are doing that, that directly affects your stock. That directly affects what your buyers and your leveraging people, and that could affect either Zaslav's position or how attractive, what kind of company ends up buying in them.
Yeah, well, and of course, I mean, adding a little bit of personal anecdote to this, I mean, I think you guys probably heard me say, 2 or 3 times previously on the stream where it's, I've said because of how much they've, taken off and licensed out from HBO Max to Netflix and to other streamers, where it's like I'm at a point where it's like I don't even know why I'm still subscribed to the thing anymore.
And see, and that's a problem because you should be able, as a distributor and as a company, to be able to do that without it hurting you, because you should be producing content. But they have taken the focus off of this, and the streaming bubble is boom, yeah, whatever. But they put the focus, like he said, he came out here and told the hungry wolves that the ribs are showing. That Zaslav daddy show me a steak. We're starving. We haven't eaten in days. We're starving. And he threw them a steak and they ate it up. But if you look at this article and you look at where the industry is going, they are behind because they started late, but they were behind because there's as good as HBO Max is, and I'm gonna call it HBO Max. There's just not enough there. There's just not enough there. And retention is important. Retention leads to stability. And then new shit leads to growth and stability. And there's just nothing there right now. There's more going out, hot stuff that could go out, but then there's more coming in. And like I said, they can't even talk about doing Game of Thrones or Sopranos and anything else. You can't even make the decision to card those things off when you don't have anything coming in. So that now, how does it link up to what, why I view DCU as arm's length? That's just not stable ground. Everything we just read, everything I'm going to, that is not stable ground. That environment that I just read off in that article, and here you guys, I'll go ahead and put the article in the thing so it's, you can interpret it for yourself. But everything that just read off, and you can read off in that article on your own, all that leads to instability. That's an environment where change happens. And if change happens, it affects everything from the top down. So yeah, there's an issue. So hey, chat, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, Ray actually has a little bit. She wrote a little bit of a novel here and a couple of comments for us. Y'all go ahead and bring them up, because Rhea, his comments are always very very insightful, almost like a YouTube haiku with her vocabulary. And come up. There we go. Rolling over all those subs from Discovery Plus brings that recurring revenue. And she's got 4, so I'm going to go through all of them before we say anything. The recurring revenue over as well, and the value of subscription for Max goes up too. Revenue growth inherently occurs as a result. Licensing is a big advantage they have because they continue to grow their library. If they buy Paramount, that's a big added bonus to the library and brand value for more subscription of value and revenue. Their perception of success is more for more. Once they get millions of HBO Max subscribers to enter a 30+ price range for all their content, they will start to see more budget subscribers, more ad revenue. And last one here, making the company appear to have a value proposition to generate large amounts of recurring revenue from licensing and streaming. They'll be even more enticing to invest or sell off outright.
Exactly. And they're not going in that direction. They're not. And one of the things that she brought up in the second paragraph there was the fact that if you look at that article, a lot of investors are not going to want to do a merger right now because of no one's got the appetite to take on the debt, and they're not generating enough money, to eat that debt up as fast as they really need.
Well, okay. So basically the situation they have is they nobody wants to buy them because they have all the debt, but they're in this purgatory where they're not generating enough revenue through the streaming platform, but they can't compensate it either through licensing or theatricals. So they've got to.
Yeah. And if you read the beginning of the article, it says because of those limitations, their growth, any growth that they have, has got to be organically. So they just have to get lucky and get to the point where people are like, wow, I really like the show. Now, House of the Dragon coming back will help, but that's not enough.
Yeah, you can't do just one show, yeah.
Yeah, and and the thing about this, and trust me, I'm a Game of Thrones. I made a ton of cash off of Game of Thrones by doing screenings and selling stuff when we do our screenings. When Game of Thrones, when Game of Thrones left, when season 8 was done, HBO in general lost 52% of their male demographic. That's devastating. So you knew this in 2018, 2019, what happens to you when you don't have content. It's the same thing when Disney Plus got started off. One of the things that stagnated the Disney Plus when they had that problem was it was a Mandalorian and in their library, which was it's a good library, but in this era, people want new entertainment that they don't have to pay an arm and a leg for. So you have to invest in that. That's why I think that eventually what's going to end up happening is I don't think Zaslav will be fired. I just think he's going to look around. His mission is done. He brought the company.
I'll take my I'll take my golden goose and go home.
Yeah. But the guy who replaces him, and I know we joke, but I really think that if you read that article, right? If you read that article and you line it up to what I've been saying about Jason Kilar, everything that they're lacking is things that
is what he was trying to implement. Yeah.
And that he can still provide. So if it's not Kilar, it's got to be. The bottom line is that they have to start thinking about a company that exists in the future, and not the dinosaur logic that they've been using. And like I said, until they do that, in my opinion, I think every project is in doubt. Every project is going to be in a holding pattern. You can tell me that there's a 10-year plan. I don't even know if there's a 10-year plan for the company. So there you go.
Yeah. So. And Aaron or Rhea says, "Thank you for hearing my essays." Oh no, we appreciate it, Rhea, because Rhea's always it's always very insightful. And next time you're like in the studio with William, it's like we'll definitely return to that whole debate about The Rock running for president. And Aaron says Paramount Plus is a big streaming service here in Australia. It's on par with Netflix. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty huge there.
Yeah, okay. Because I mean, Netflix now, of course, is known as being like the big king of the streaming pond, but
and they had a huge head start. They were the pioneers.
Yeah, well, and going back to what you're saying about Kylar, because I mean, he ruffled a lot of feathers, obviously, with the whole day and date thing. I mean, obviously, COVID, it was partially motivated by that, but kind of everything that was kind of laid out in this article, when contrasting, the business philosophy of the current regime to what Kylar was implementing, you can kind of get a sense of like what William was talking about with like, Kylar kind of had his finger on the pulse a lot more in terms of diversifying their portfolio of having like multiple pillars of revenue and really embracing the rise of streaming as, especially with the economics of it, as far as like family budgeting and the state of theatrical movie going post pandemic, and with economic factors of its own there. So it would be humorous and ironic if Kylar ended up coming back and if we ended up doing like another day and date year-long thing or how that would go. But,
I don't know if he would do that, but I think he would make the initial investment into streaming. You just have to. You have to make this initial investment if you want people to come to you. Just like I can't not invest in my business. Expect people to not just show up. I can't just be stagnant. People, expect people to come through the door. You have to make an investment. People have to see it. And like I said, you're not. These studios and all these old guys are all of them in their mid to late 60s or 70s, in some cases 80s, and they all have that mentality, and it's really hurting the growth of some of them. Netflix, if you look at Netflix is a different animal because they weren't a studio at first. They have a studio now, but it was a different thing. But they're all chasing Netflix, but that's fine. You want Netflix's success, but you don't want to do Netflix's investment. That's a problem.
And Kylar, again, talking about the generational gap, Kylar, at the time he was like 48 and he's 52 now, so probably highlights a little bit of like the generational perspective difference.
He's a generation mixer.
And Reyes says, Brad, hell yeah, Dwayne's gonna take over WBD and skews half the country's votes. That right? I mean, he does. Imagine if he, some of his business acumen kind of apply, because I don't know if like we've heard like his thoughts in terms of like the streaming, but I mean he's worked with Netflix. He's got an Amazon movie coming up, so he's
he's done several things on streaming. I mean, and he understands, and once again he's a Generation Xer. He's 51, 52 years old. He's young. I mean, young by standards of people
by
running
CEO standards, yeah, Fortune 500 company standards.
If you look at the current, how old is Bob Iger? Bob Iger's like pushing 80.
Bob Iger's like 100,000 years old.
All right, so Bob Iger is 72 and he was retired. That's up there. All right. And Bob Chapek was the one that, replaced him. He is 64. So we're talking about guys like that. Now how old was Stuber?
Scott Stuber?
Yeah.
Oh, you with Netflix?
Yeah, before he
look him up. He is so he's about 55.
Okay, you see the difference there? And what did I say the other day? What were the age group I would want to see? The oldest was 55 and below, and look what that guy did. All right, look what that guy did.
See, and Bradley definitely not a Chapek fan.
Well, no, he was. You know what though? He did what they wanted him to do, and they realized they didn't want him to do that way. And there was only one thing for him to do. He got bought out. I don't like the way he was terminated, though. I thought that was unprofessional. Even if you hated the guy, you still conduct yourself in a better manner. Who runs? Universal's Amazon now. So
yeah.
Or no, MGM.
Oh, no, MGM, yeah, there.
Who runs Universal?
Look them up real quick. Yeah. They don't even have a streaming service, actually, do they? Universal. They don't have their own streaming platform. Okay.
No, Universal. Yeah, they do. Yeah, Peacock. Yeah, Peacock.
Oh, okay. So that's theirs. All right. Okay. So Donna Langley is a chairman of Universal, and she is a 55.
Okay. So you got her, and that's what you need. Let's look at. I've pulled up. Paramount.
William is substantially younger than Bob Iger.
Okay, so I have Paramount being ran by Bob Williams. Yeah, he's 60. So you're starting
on the cusp there.
Yeah, you're starting to get it, but like I said, it's the mentality that you have. As much as the age. I mean, it helps if you're from the age where all of this stuff is becoming as equally relevant. But if you come from an era to where, box office was king, you're probably not as apt to make these changes that need to be made. So,
by the way, quick thing, I just thought they're out there. Brian Robbins is the current CEO of Paramount Pictures. Because look at his Wikipedia right now. He's also the director of Good Burger.
All right. Anyway, I think we've covered all of our topics here. Yeah, I think that WBD is on shaky ground because they don't have a lot to draw from, and I don't know how patient that the stockholders are going to be with their stock being downgraded. That's fucked up. If you own a lot of stock, you're probably pissed right now.
Yeah. Well, Droga, I suppose I should go ahead and highlight this because this ventures a bit into the band topic. What are we talking about? No, the Cyberverse is going to be. Listen. I'm with a lot of what William's saying and a lot of what that article talked about. It's like I'm starting to ponder whether they might consider the whole licensing some stuff the fans are asking for.
Well, it's not a pondering thing. Like I said, the people who just want to push certain topics off the cliff will say, "Well, they'll never do that. They'll never do that." Like I said, I can't relate to you as a business owner. You're not speaking the language of common sense. Where there is transaction, anything can happen. Anything can happen. You basically tell me that you don't exist in the professional sphere when you tell me, you give me absolutes that somebody will never do anything. You're not in their boardrooms. You're probably, along with myself, not as smart as they are, not as qualified as they are. So you saying that, well, they'll never do this means shit. It means nothing. In this landscape where things are changing, we wake up tomorrow, we don't know what the fuck's going to go. I didn't expect to wake up to see the degradation that much. I knew their stock was going to get downgraded because they were still in debt. But it downgraded by $4. Wow. And now it's under $11 for the first time in quite a while. That's not good.
Do you own any WBD stock?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, so you're a shareholder who's not happy now.
Yeah, It's just not a good situation. I don't own as many as the people who made the merger happen. I own pebbles compared to what they own, but some of those people owe hundreds of millions of dollars of shares in these companies, and their leverage. And now you got to realize that how long, if you were one of the people who owned Discovery stock, and you were one of the people who owned Warner Brothers stock, and you basically were given this stock as part of your merger, and as a Discovery side, you bought into this company. You weren't in debt, but you bought into their debt, which brought your overall stock value down. How much patience do you have with all what's going on before you decide that maybe we need to usher in something else? So
well, like how like
something else is ushered in, then it's a change.
Well, this is maybe like a little bit more of a generic question, but like how, if it's dropping, because it dropped from 16 to 12, right?
Yeah, they downgraded it from potentially 16 to 12.
Okay, so like what would be like? Well, I mean, I guess worst case scenario it drops to nothing, but I mean, like what would be like maybe like foreseeable like worst case scenario? Like how much more do you think it could drop?
It all depends on what quarterly earnings and what happens. It could drop another couple of dollars, which would still be. So just remember that, multiply that times millions. You know what I mean? Multiply that times more than what I got. And so basically, when things like this happen, you basically within minutes and seconds you lose hundreds of millions of dollars sometimes, or millions of dollars, because you had something at $3 or $4 more was worth way more than it was worth at $3 or $4 less. And you multiply that, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, because it's not, it doesn't sting as much when you own 5-6 shares. If you own 500-600 shares, then it's like, ooh. And if you own 5,000-6,000 shares, or like the majority shareholder,
yeah, you're in, and a lot of those guys bet on this. It was a bet. Mergers are a bet, and right now, I mean, like I said, it's tough. But I don't think that the current leadership is capable of leading them through this tunnel. I think the current leadership was capable of making the decision to create the tunnel, but it's just, like I said, it's like your great grandma, trying to build your website. It's just, at some point you got to hand it off to people who understand the relevance of these things here and now. And like I said, everything I pretty much said less articulately than that article or Rhea could have said coming true. You are going to have to invest in the stream. You are going to have to take it in the NADs eventually to invest in the stream if you want that kind of revenue. If you want anywhere near what Netflix $38 billion is, Netflix didn't get there by cutting those kind of corners. I mean, they might cut shows, but they keep their heavy hit. They invest in their heavy hitters. You think they're skimping on Stranger Things? You think they're skimping on Sandman? That's a high budget show, by the way.
They definitely weren't skipping a Rebel Moon.
You got to spend the money. You get what you pay for. And if your product is perceived as cheap, and we can't do this because we can't afford it, then you know what? I can't afford to subscribe to you. So there you go.
Well, yeah, like I said, going back to me personally with because I have my subscription with Max is like just about like the majority of the my and I'm like William, I'm subscribed to a lot of them because I'm subscribed to most of them because
Brian Robbins was born the day Kennedy was assassinated. Wow.
Oh damn. Well, I'm subscribed to most of them because it's like my line of work. It's like I kind of need to be able to tune into things as with the as much as I can, and with so most of them I have the annual subscription sign up. That's what I have for Max. But it's like if that's about as of right now, that's about the only thing that's kept me there. The fact that it's I've already paid back in I think October is when it water renews every year for me is but it's it's like with they've pulled so much off, they've not added so much more. It's like I've been looking at like, what am I still doing here?
Yeah, you have to make the investment, guys. You got to make that investment. Also, heavy side topic, LOL. But I need to ask William thoughts on Godzilla doing his information jumping chair from Astronaut.
Oh, he's going to do that, or
he's talking about
because I know what he's talking when this is happy dancing when he's ever blasted off another kaiju and their head off and he's won.
I hope not. I hope he doesn't do any riding along his tail. All right, guys. We're at 132. I think we covered everything. So that's about it. But yeah, it's been 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Here's the context. The toy leaked with him in that pose. Apparently, well, I mean, toys are posable, so footage would be a bunch of toys leaked. Yeah.
It's time to start leaking that.
Yeah.
We'll be in February on Thursday.
Yeah.
And the movie comes out in a month. We're promoting that, by the way. And then right after that, or right before that, Dune comes out. I'm going to do something massive for Dune. So I hope Warner Brothers. The last time we did Dune, they supported the hell out of us. I still got posters from the original Dune. I hope I get a lot of stuff to give away. So I hope I get digital stuff to give away too, because I want to do it on air.
That's awesome.
All right. That's it for tonight. A lot of news. Very rare we have a lot of those kind of topics there. But hey, it's the beginning of the week. It's tough. 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, 24/7 call, text, chat. Listen, guys, when we do these shows, try to find some enjoyment and happiness. I know we talk about some this heavy stuff, but not heavy life or death stuff. Try to lean back and have fun for about 90 minutes when we're talking this stuff, and then hopefully that carries on to the rest of your day. I mean, I know we stream late at night, and I know that a lot of our viewers will see the show later on. But hey, this applies to you as well. Try to find some enjoyment in what we do, and keep you off of that cliff. And and if you see anybody on that cliff, give them that number 988. They can. It's easy. It's free. And there are people on the other end of that line that will help. Our watch party this coming Saturday 2 p.m. is going to be Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. So be there for that. We're going to try. I don't even set a goal right now because we're in a good spot. If we can get to 7,000, that's great. That makes the march towards 10,000 all the more easier. Brad, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero. You can find me here and there on Facebook. You can find, of course, check out all my awesome writing and my my journalistic, my blogging entertainment career, whatever term is most applicable to it. And you can find me here on the Sci-Fi Center being blamed for everything that's happening. And yeah, but sorry about the hiccup that happened earlier. I was out for about 15 minutes. Like, guys, that was weird.
Show went just fine without you. No, I'm just kidding.
I
was wondering where you went. I knew you were having internet issues or something like that. So
it's like it was the mouse, and then it's like I had like 7 windows open, and it's just I was clicked on something else. In fact, it was like a Rolling Stone article of like the 50 worst mistakes ever, and I was going to bring that up and say, oh, William will love this one because they list Howard the Duck on there. They said like Howard the Duck almost killed the MCU like 25 years in advance.
Yeah, it almost killed it. It almost killed it at birth. So. All right, guys. And who knows? One of these days, I'm going to take a day off. I don't know when the hell it's going to be. We're going like on 20 or 30 days straight. Who knows? But like I said, it was going to be the day, but then we had this article.
Yeah, we had this. Yeah,
that article came out, and then I gave you 5 minutes of a DCU topic. So that's going to be my max when it comes to DCU, unless we get like a trailer or a teaser or something like that, and we can spend 10 minutes on it. So, all right, guys. With that, I'm out.
Later, guys.